Do you feel the energy of a collective shift? Many of us do. More than likely, if you're watching this video, you are undergoing some form of a process of personal evolution, in which your consciousness is expanding and you are radically reevaluating your position in reality, including your perspective, your beliefs, your mind, your possessions, attachments, and everything about yourself and your notion of life as a whole, as a result of the collective shift in consciousness. We are experiencing reality as one being or fractal of source consciousness. So all of us together are experiencing the collective consciousness and also leading to changes in the collective. Subsequently, we are all undergoing individual changes as a result of this collective shift. And right now, unarguably, the world is going through a time of change. This is a catalytic period in which everything is in flux. We see the surfacing of deeper problems which are reflective of the collective unconscious. And subsequently, we're undergoing shifts in our own state of consciousness, which is allowing us to transmute the lower states or lower frequencies of our being, which is then allowing us to hold a higher frequency as we move into this new paradigm on Earth. This ultimately is where choice lies. We have the ability to either stay stuck in a lower frame rate of our consciousness or be more bound by this lower dimensional realm, or we can choose to be more associated with our own soul's reality, with our higher self, with our heart's consciousness, and with the awareness that allows us to transmute those lower frequencies and step into our more exalted, higher self's reality. Now, what does this change really indicate? Essentially, we are being confronted with this energy of duality, as everything that has already been interfering with the state of non-duality, aka love, peace, and unification, is now brimming at the surface. We are now seeing even more problems divide people. We are seeing everything that has been suppressed and has been avoided come to the surface. Thus, also on an individual level, we are being confronted with everything that we have once pushed aside. If you have been running away from yourself, you're going to be dealing with more and more issues in your life that make you confront those aspects of your shadow. You're going to be realizing that whatever you have not looked at will inevitably come up in your life, because such is the mirror of consciousness. That is the very nature of reality. If we choose to avoid anything, sooner or later, that process completes itself, and we end up seeing our own reflection through the world around us. We end up receiving the mirror of our awareness through our earthly experiences, through our relationships, through our career, through every situation in our life that makes us see ourselves more deeply by making us understand what we have manifested from the inner reality of who we are. In order to understand the collective nature of change, we need to therefore look at the cause for change. We need to understand what is keeping us bound in this lower dimensional reality. What have we to transmute? What do we need to look at that we have not been observing in the past? What is keeping us attached to our own egoic mind? What is keeping us stuck in a reality of fear, conditioning, anger, resentment, and any other low-frequency emotion that is making us feel that we are trapped in this matrix? Whatever we feel trapped by is in essence reflecting a trap in our own mind. And if we can learn to identify that trap, we can also find the door to exit this aspect of our limited awareness. This is where the understanding of Christ consciousness comes in, wherein we all have the ability to either hold a lower frequency in our being, which puts us more in the state of this fear, anxiety, attachment, and dependency upon different factors to make us feel a sense of belonging to the matrix, as opposed to feeling like we are an ethereal being, attached to the lower dimensional realm in order to understand ourselves more deeply and share our gifts with the world. More and more people are doubting their attachments within the matrix, including possessions, old ways of being, old habits, relationships, and different attachments which make them feel like a limited being in this lower dimensional realm. However, there is a way out, and that way out is by understanding your purpose and the things that give your soul the most meaning, the higher awareness that gives you life, the things that bring you true joy. And the path to bliss is in the understanding that you have the power to enact your free will by learning to understand what it is that truly makes you feel alive, what sets your soul on fire, and what allows you to feel like you are not just a human trapped in this matrix, but you are a soul who has chosen to incarnate for the purpose of deeper expansion on both the individual and the collective level. And I want you to imagine that you have chosen to come into the matrix to contribute to this collective shift in consciousness. You're here not to experience imprisonment and to feel the duality stopping you from experiencing yourself fully, but rather to transmute certain elements of your own shadow, keeping you stuck in the illusion that you are indeed stuck here. Imagine what it would take for you to free yourself to the understanding that you actually are here to elevate the frequency of the entire collective consciousness. Imagine that you have chosen to incarnate in this time in order to enact the energy of change, both in your life and in the lives of all those around you. Consider what it means to become the change maker in your reality. Consider what it means to eliminate the lower frequency emotions by choosing to transmute the root cause of them into a gift or a solution for attaining higher states of consciousness. The higher state of consciousness I speak of is one of non-duality, and this is the nature of Christ consciousness, where Christ consciousness can really be achieved by understanding what reality your soul is experiencing on the higher dimensional plane, where there is a version of you that has been existent before you chose to come here. That version of you is all-knowing. It is aware of the cause for everything that you are now experiencing. It is aware of the deeper gifts and lessons which are precipitated by your chosen experiences. It is that version of you that understands deeply why it is that you've chosen to come here and why you're confronted with every issue, obstacle, and challenge that you're now facing in your life. Now, to understand the bondage which might be keeping you stuck in this lower frequency reality, we need to think about the evolution of our chakra system and consider that awakening is essentially the upgrading of our energetic system. It is where we learn to process the energy that we are feeling and move the energy up our spinal column in order to understand that energetic balance means choosing to come into alignment on all frequency chambers of our being. This means that we first need to understand what is keeping us stuck in our lower nature, where our egoic reality is closely connected to the lower density emotions, which are connected to our lower chakra system. This is namely the sacral and the root chakras, which are associated with survival, with the core sense of identity, with our sexuality, with our personal willpower, with our feeling of security and stability in the matrix. Where formerly you might have been attached to the need for material comfort, stability, and this sense of needing more attachments, possessions, and identification with aspects of the matrix to produce a more deeper sense of yourself, you now may be realizing that that energy can be transmuted to give you a sense of deeper peace when you choose to come into your heart center. If you were dominated by your lower chakra system, you may be feeling a need to constantly be doing more, achieving more, stuck in your masculine center of more producing output rather than feeling deeply connected to your heart and soul. Those who are ruled by their lower chakras end up feeling like there is nothing that they can be doing that is enough. There's a need for more, to achieve more of a sense of stability and security within the self, because the lower chakra system is only fueled by more consumption, by more depletion of the energetic reserves within your body, rather than understanding that the energy you're housing within yourself, which is purely sexual and creative in nature, can actually be brought to the point of you understanding your deeper purpose that can be transmuted into gifts to share with the world. As we enter the new paradigm, we will be confronted by an ever more apparent dualistic split in the collective mind, wherein some people will seem to be very devoted to the expansion of Christ consciousness. There will be more tribes forming that allow for new sovereign communities, for people to fully express themselves, to be devoted to love, unification, and the transmission of higher frequencies onto planet Earth. Meanwhile, there will be even more corruption, greed, lust, power, and a need for control and destruction among those who are not devoted to their higher frequency condition. If you choose to associate with the lower chakra reality, you will constantly be feeling this need to attain more, to do more, and to feel more completed by the material limitations that keep you trapped in this illusion that you are never enough in this matrix, that more has to be done to achieve a sense of comfort. Although this is purely illusory attachment that will never bring a true sense of fulfillment. The higher frequency reality that we can experience is one in which unification is what brings us the deepest source of fulfillment, where pure connection to source, purpose, our own personal fulfillment, and joy that's simply experienced through our authentic state of being will rule our experience and bring us ever more peace and stability in our lives. This is a reality which only some people will come to experience that are choosing to actively disidentify from all those lower frequency barriers of their past, by choosing to forgive, let go of any resentment, and to transmute the lower frequency conditions into higher frequency conduits for growth and expansion. You can choose to let go of the things that are keeping you stuck in your lower chakra system by transmuting some of those lower frequency emotions into love, into deeper awareness, into wisdom, and into the curiosity for more growth, but choosing to understand that when your higher chakra system is engaged, you'll come to be truly a student of life and come to find more beauty in every day of our experience. In order to transmute these lower frequency states, we need to start to activate our higher frequency reality, which means that this entails understanding how to be more deeply connected to Source. Beginning with your solar plexus chakra, that involves choosing to connect yourself physically through the identity of the universe. It's choosing to see that you're not a singular entity, you're actually an indivisible unit of Source consciousness. Choosing to identify in one physical body in order to more deeply understand how you can gratify yourself by choosing to connect more deeply to all aspects of life. The next center for energetic system expansion is the heart chakra, which of course offers the lesson of empathy. If we can learn to activate our hearts more deeply, we learn to live the inspired life of interconnection. We learn to feel more deeply the emotions of all those around us, to understand that feelings are the primary truth in the matrix, that everybody in the matrix is experiencing genuine emotion, and those emotions are valid in nature. If we can learn to breathe this air of empathy, we can learn to understand that the language of the universe is spoken through emotional interconnection, that everything is alive and is teaching us a lesson that we can contemplate through connecting our heart space to all that is. Most issues can be transmuted by understanding effectively how to connect more to them, instead of choosing to disconnect from the reality that we're choosing to experience. As we continue to move up our energetic system, we're confronted with the need to open ourselves up emotionally through our own communication. By communicating our truth through our throat chakra space, we're able to ascertain what the lesson of self-realization is. How when we learn to channel our genuine emotions, we also must learn to communicate them. We must learn to be consistent within and outside of ourselves, dismantling the notion that our ego is a sovereign entity that must be split from the reality that is outside of us. When we choose to speak our truth, we can also start to channel truth from our higher self's awareness. Doing so will activate our third eye, bringing us deeper clarity about who we are and our purpose in this world. That will bring us a deeper awareness of what we're supposed to be doing in this matrix, how our dreams, our visions, and different intentions can deeply be coming from the field, which we must receive by choosing to surrender to our innermost state of knowing. Doing so will allow us to feel more deeply connected to not only ourselves but all of reality, and we can come to see that signs and synchronicities are all around us, leading us to the truth of our own soul's comprehension. Through this journey, we then start to awaken our crown chakra, which allows us to feel even more at home in this matrix by reflecting that our higher dimensional nature is also accessible in our physical bodies. By activating our crown chakra, we are feeling more deeply enmeshed with the entire universe and seeing that higher dimensional awareness comes through us all of the time. We can receive more clear visions, downloads, and awareness streaming from our own higher self's reality by just choosing to be aware that we are indeed a conduit of Source consciousness. Choosing to access our higher dimensional nature allows us to see that we can be our 5D selves in this lower dimension. We can choose to channel that wisdom in our physical bodies by just holding that higher frequency of truth, and by understanding that our soul's frequency is always accessible here if we choose to trust ourselves, know ourselves, and be honest to who we really are at our core. This is essentially the journey of understanding how to unify with your higher self to experience Christ consciousness in the lower dimensional realm. Christ consciousness is simply the higher frequency of truth, which is associated with non-duality. It is love over judgment, unity over division, oneness over separation, and coming into the source of all that is, as opposed to fragmenting your consciousness and perceiving everything in terms of singular forms. It is also the realization that we must be going through everything that we are now going through on a collective level, that there is a higher order program that is manifesting all that currently is playing out. Nothing effectively is wrong in the matrix, and nothing is a mistake. We're here to learn not to fight against what is, or to create deeper resistance within ourselves, but to realize that to transmute that hatred, that resistance, that lower dimensional stagnation and connection to the illusion of the matrix is learning to find more love through this experience of duality. That duality is actually necessary to test our resolve and to see, will our ego be able to thrive in this reality and learn to connect to the soul, or will we choose to be sucked into the illusion that we're actually separate from our higher selves? Christ consciousness is manifested in this state of deepest separation. It is manifested in suffering, in duality, in every challenge that makes us test our inner resolve to understand whether or not we can actually thrive in these times of chaos. In essence, even the experience of chaos and entropy is testing our ability to find resolution when that chaos is present. It's showing us that there is actually a path through the chaos which brings us back to the higher order state of awareness. And it shows us that sometimes chaos and disorder is necessary to bring us into a deeper resolution within ourselves. We're entering a time of even deeper chaos, disorder, and disturbance of the status quo on planet Earth. A time when the critical mass of unconsciousness is being hit to test our ability to be even deeply integrated within ourselves. It is our time to step up to the plate and to choose love and unity over all else. To choose to not resist the resistance, but to actually be the change we wish to see in this world, which will allow us to thrive in a reality in which more unity than ever is possible when we choose to create it within ourselves. It's our time to not falter, but to actually choose to devote ourselves to more unification than ever before, by realizing that everything currently manifested on a collective level is really allowing us to choose the path back to our own souls. And if we can do this for ourselves, we can do it all together. We simply need to realize that what we're experiencing is a mass choice, and it is your choice as an individual to be going on this journey all together to allow us to all transmute the lower frequencies and return home to the source of Christ consciousness.